Welcome back to Straight Talk. I'm Laurel Porter. We're talking about a project called Open Housing. It's a collaboration between the University of Oregon, community and media partners, and KGW. We're looking deeper into the housing crisis in Portland and what's ahead. Welcome once again to my guests. Great to have you here.
Thanks.
Let's continue our conversation, and I'll start by laying the groundwork of a story that we did. We profiled Paul Knowles Jr., and his father started a hair salon in Northeast Portland named after his wife, Geneva. And now the son, Junior, Paul Jr., runs it on MLK Boulevard, but he cannot afford to live where he works anymore, where he grew up. He had to move over to Vancouver where he rents. He'd rather live close to work, he says, but he doesn't like what he sees has happened to places like North Williams. He says when he drives down there, he doesn't want to go back there because he feels like he's a stranger in his own house. So what does the future of Portland look like if we continue on this trajectory? We'll start with Cupid.
Yeah, so I think the thing is that you're seeing a difference in a lot of it is income-based and opportunity-based. And so you're seeing a huge gap being created where you're seeing a lot of Portlanders who would like to stay in neighborhoods but might not have the financial means. They're not seeing the options available to be able to rent in those neighborhoods. They're moving further out and they're feeling like there's no place for them. They're feeling like the American dream that they had and the Portland that they used to know hasn't, as it developed and as it grew up and grew out, it didn't make sure that there was places for them. And I think that that causes a lot of pain and that causes a lot of hurt because you feel like if I'm no longer welcome in the city that I've grown up in, despite what the market situation is, I feel like there's no place for me. And, you know, there's places for people in Portland. Sad to see that.
Yeah. Shalonda, are we going to become more like San Francisco, do you think?
Probably, if things don't change. I think, you know, I'm a Portland native as well.
I have to say you were the Rose Festival princess at Marshall High School. This is a special time of year for the Rose Court.
Yes, thank you. And so, you know, I've seen a lot of changes, and with looking at the changes, it was exciting at first, but like Cupid said, I still live in the neighborhood I grew up in, and it doesn't feel like home anymore. And so now when I'm considering purchasing, I'm thinking about, well, maybe I have to, you know, move out of the city. And I'm a little comfortable with moving out of the city. You know,
where would you go?
I'm not really sure where yet. But I'm keeping my options open, you know, maybe Vancouver, because I know that may be, you know, more affordable, but it just all depends on the timeline.
Daniel, what do you see looking ahead?
I see people realizing that living where they grew up is not a realistic fact, and looking at all the opportunities that are available and realizing that being ahead of the wave where the growth is going, because it's like an explosion going outwards, right? And so in trying to catch it before it actually gets to Portland State right now, by moving farther out, sacrificing a little bit of distance, travel time, and being able to buy more house, which definitely in the long run will give you more wealth. That's what our clients are thinking, you know, because I have clients that I'm currently working with that are renting in that area where they would like to live, but they're realistic and they know they can't do that. So they're expanding their horizons, you know, and looking at different options, because by the time they get ready to purchase, you know, the price of houses is going to be a little higher than it is right now.
The consequences of what you're talking about, living farther out, though, are many, as far as less time with your family, more traffic. As we know, our infrastructure is really stressed, and also pollution. I know a lot of environmentalists are really concerned on this trajectory that we're on. Just some things to think about. Cupid, what about the rents? How much is the high rents affecting the housing market?
Oh man, the rents, y'all, the rents. You know, a portion of your income, and they say usually about 30% of your income is supposed to go towards rents. As rent goes up, and if your income doesn't adjust, you end up having to spend a greater portion of your rent, of your money on rent. What does that mean? That means you have less money to go do other things, to visit the mom and pops, to go down to the Saturday market, to do all the things that make life enjoyable. Or sometimes you just end up being underhoused, meaning that you're living with someone else or you're having too many people in a unit just so you can live somewhere where you feel like you deserve to be. So I think that as you see rents go up, you're going to see people come up with creative solutions in ways that they've never had before. And I don't know if that's good. I don't know if it's bad, but I know that it exists and people are currently doing it. You're seeing it. They're renting apartments out of garages. They're renting sheds. Some of the people that are lower on the income scale are renting backyards to put tents. And these are all human beings, and they're just trying to figure out a way to be a part of Portland.
And then when the rents are so high, it also makes it tough to save for a down payment for the house.
Exactly. Yeah, and then one of the things too is like Cupid said, getting creative. So you have people that are working part-time jobs, working additional jobs, maybe doing side work right now that is not something that you know, just helping someone out by earning a little bit of money on the side to take care of ends meet. And as your rent goes up, you have less money to save. Therefore, it's harder to get ready for home ownership. But if you're having some sort of a little business or some sort of job that actually is not being, you know, included in your taxes per se, you know, it's not something that you see you're going to do yourself for a long time. You want to do for a little while. Well, tax purposes, lenders are going to look at your income. And if you cannot document that income, it doesn't exist. Therefore, you're able to survive and live right now, but not get ready for home ownership. That expands the gap right there.
Only about 15 seconds. Did you have a thought, Shalonda, you'd like to share?
It's just challenging. So like Cupid said, a lot of clients are becoming a little more resourceful and coming together. There are families that are living together. There are folks that are actually buying together. So it's just being, you know, you have to be a little more resourceful and creative.
Well, guests, I want to thank you so much, Daniel, Shalonda, Cupid, for being with us. Each of your organizations has help available for people: the African American Alliance for Home Ownership, the Portland Housing Center, the Portland Housing Bureau. We have links to phone numbers for those. If you go to kgw.com, look under news links. We also have all the stories that we're talking about on open housing if you go to the KGW News app. Thanks once again, and thank you for watching Straight Talk. We'll see you next week.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Line A, Portland's first television.